Morning guys, sun is out, day off. Been a tourist. I'm going to do a bus tour. I'm actually already done the bus part. I'm going to do the Three Bridges tour. So I get to go on a boat. It does cost £25, which I was unsure about. But apparently it's really nice, and it's really calm today. So we'll give that a whirl and see. Yeah, but look. So 2 bridges. You've got the Queen's Ferry crossing, the 4th bridge. You get to go to an island, and then over here you have the rail bridge. We're going to see all of them. And there's an island here, so we're going to go there as well. And there's an island over somewhere here. That's where we're going to go. Sun is out. Beautiful, man. 15 degrees, I think it's warmer than that, if I'm honest. Let's see how it goes. Okay, South Queen's Ferry. You've got the old 4th bridge, and then you've got the Queen's Ferry crossing. It's a beautiful day. 5. 4th road rail bridge. 4th rail bridge, not 4th road, obviously as well. Beautiful, man. Doesn't do it justice, boys and girls. It's amazing. It's so calm today. Beautiful. Oh, this building here is a Doubletree, Hilton Doubletree. Ash wants to go there, but it's very close to where we live, so we'll see. There's a train, guys, crossing over the bridge.
Don't get too excited and rush on. Just let us follow your instructions to get you on board as quick as possible, so it's as fair as possible for everyone who's been queuing. Thank you.
I didn't catch any of that.
Yes.
I didn't catch any of that.
Just don't let anyone budge. Be nice and polite.
Why don't you just shimmy?
Best behaviour.
Okay, you like to be on it, just not for the queue. And then you can see the boat.
We'll just do a nice
Right guys, I'm on the boat. It takes like an hour and a half to get off the island, or 2 islands. We'll find out when we get there. Very intriguing.
This is the 4th bell, and a very warm welcome aboard. We are now about to set sail and embark on our unique voyage of discovery on this river that we call the Firth of Forth. The 4th bell is more than well equipped to deal with any eventuality whilst at sea. However, for your comfort and safety, Please now listen carefully to the following safety announcement. In the very unlikely event of an emergency, you will hear 7 long blasts from the ship's horn. Simply return to your seats and remain calm. Wait then for any further instructions to be given. That's 7 long blasts of the ship's horn. Return to your seats and wait on further instructions. You are free to move around the inside and the fore and aft decks of the ship, but never forget, we are on water, and even on the calmest of days the boat may move up or down or sideways, and it's never when you expect it. You will find toilets at the back of this ship as you visit the bell bar. The bell bar is located below decks, downstairs, towards the rear of our ship. There is a selection of snacks with hot and cold drinks available, and you will pass the toilets on your left and right on your way down to the bell bar.
Maybe more few days.
England, perhaps bookmark buildings in the history of the world. The 19th century can be marked by the Forth Rail Bridge, the Red Cantilever Bridge, built before cars and aircraft existed during the reign of Queen Victoria. It opened in 1890. Around the same time, Rudolf Diesel invented the diesel engine. Shredded wheat was the new breakfast cereal. Fingerprinting becomes possible. Aspirin is developed and X-rays discovered. Scotland was then the second richest nation on earth. The Forth Rail Bridge, the red one, was inscribed as a World Heritage Site by the United Nations body UNESCO, so it now enjoys the same status as the Taj Mahal and the Great Wall of China. And with the ever-increasing popularity of cars, the Silver Bridge, the Forth Road Bridge, marks the 20th century. Queen Elizabeth II opened the Forth Road Bridge less than 2 years after the assassination of American President John F. Kennedy. The very same year that Philips introduced the music cassette, chemotherapy was first used to treat cancer, and Beatlemania was taking the world by storm with All My Loving and I Wanna Hold Your Hand. Now, the red Forth Rail Bridge was built at a cost of £3 million. The silver Forth Road Bridge was built for £11.5 million 74 years later. Now, here in the 21st century, a further 50 plus years later, the Queensferry Crossing is the newest addition to the scenery. A concept built with a 21st century budget of around £1.5 billion, not million, £1.5 billion. Ever since 1890, when the Red Forth Rail Bridge opened, it was always the tradition to toss a small coin out of the train window as you pass over this island. This is Inchgarvie Island. And over time, generations of children have grown up on both shores, and they've all riddled the sand through their toes searching for those coins, the buried treasure. This is an island also rich with history. Have a close look as we go by. Try to see the oldest stonework, because that's the important bit. The old stonework is all that remains of Inchgarvie Castle that was built in 1495. This island also operated as a state prison until around 1670, but it was in the mid-1600s the English Oliver Cromwell he'd taken control of Edinburgh. He was advancing his troops throughout Scotland. He was aiming for Stirling Castle. He already had Tantallon Castle at Dunbar, Blackness Castle upstream, and Inchgarvie Castle here he took on the 17th day of July, 1651. At this point in the river, in the space of 2 days, over 4,000 English troops crossed to North Queensferry in little boats, and then they all became embroiled in the Battle of Inverkeithing.
Well, the oldest part of the castle, it's just behind a little gun turret, or keep watching out for the wildlife. So head round, if you do see anything, make sure you point it out for everybody else. So I'll head off down through the tugboats. There's a big oil tanker coming in, so most of the tugboats are away dealing with that. And we'll maybe see that on the way back a bit closer. It's an absolutely lovely morning, so make sure you get some nice pictures.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a circular tour, as you know. We will arrive back at the very same place that you boarded. However, today, if you would like to enjoy perhaps only a once-in-a-lifetime chance to visit the island of Inchcolm, then please visit the Bell Bar to purchase your landing pass. If you do choose to go ashore, the Fourth Bell will continue on her tour and return for you on the very next cruise. You must have a landing pass to visit this stunning historic Scotland maintained attraction. If you are already a holder of a historic Scotland visitor pass, then please simply book in at the bar. That's landing passes for the historic and hauntingly beautiful island of Inchcolm. They must be booked or purchased in the bar. The Bell Bar is located downstairs as you pass the toilets towards the rear of the ship. This area is probably the most unique and iconic in Scotland. This river and estuary is home to such a huge diversity of marine wildlife. But down on the seabed, a rainbow of corals, sponges and anemones, starfish, oysters and lobsters. It's a diver's paradise, and usually during our summertime we can see puffins and gannets, the guillemots, razorbills and eider ducks, the heaviest ducks that can actually fly. These wonderful beaches and the shoreline, these were the catalyst igniting Charles Darwin's interest of the natural world, marine biology and botany, and for Charles Darwin, this area was the starting point in his epic worldwide journey to discovering on the origin of the species. But Charles wasn't the only one. Another very famous naturalist came from a little way further downstream, in the small fishing town of Dunbar. Very probably Canadians and Americans aboard, you will know the name, John Muir. This was a man who saved many areas of natural beauty from the curse of mankind itself. Places such as Yosemite National Park in the United States. He more or less created the national park system. But his legacy here in his homeland is the John Muir Way, taking in the Forth Valley coastline beside us now, and a further 100 miles of breathtaking cycleway and walkway, Scotland-wide, from here on the Forth, on the east coast, all the way over to the west coast. And so from studying and learning from Mother Earth, we can now see Mother Earth providing for us. You just can't help notice this marine terminal, rather ugly. However, this is the midpoint in a very long journey from deep within the earth for Scotland's black gold, the Forties blend, its oil. It's extracted and collected from over 50 platforms in the Forties field way out in the North Sea. It's then piped along the seabed to here. This is Hound Point. And from here at Hound Point, supertankers, they take on loads of at least 500,000 tons of crude oil every time. Scotland's oil is then exported from here to customers all over the world.
Got the oil tanker on the horizon just past the lighthouse. Looks pretty small from this distance, but it is one of the larger ones. That'll be something like 330 metres in length, 60 metres across. And once it's full with the oil, it'll have something like 20 to 22 metres of boat under the water. The grey pipes over on the left hand side, they're what fill the tankers up. They're articulated. The tankers come in empty, and as they load with the oil, they obviously sink deeper and deeper into the water. So they have to be able to accommodate that movement. So there's lots of bendy joints on them.
Over the passage of time, so many life-changing episodes have started here on the Forth. Many famous people have grown up or lived by these shores. Far over on our right-hand shore lies the city of Edinburgh. You may see the skyline. A little further on is the international seaport of Leith, where you will find the Royal Yacht Britannia. For the thousands of people who have left Scotland over the decades, Leith was a departure point heading by sea for Ellis Island, Prince Edward Island, the USA and Canada, the Far East, Australia or New Zealand. Did you know the most famous customs and excise officer from the port of Leith was Robert Burns? He wrote My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose, and also the compulsory song every New Year, Auld Lang Syne. Christian Salvesen, he based his whaling fleet here, the largest in Europe. His boats sailed to the most remote and coldest places on the planet in search of whales. Whales that were very much needed because in those times whale blubber was eaten and the Scots burned whale oil in their lamps. Christian Salvesen's men also smuggled in illegal aliens, penguins. Christian Salvesen gifted the people of Edinburgh his home and estate for the penguins. This is now Edinburgh Zoo, although currently more famous for pandas and the Tunnel of Love. Tea first arrived in Scotland direct from Canton aboard the Isabella, owned by the Melrose family. Golf originated in Leith. The Scots exported the game to the USA, along with around 10,000 golf balls every week. It was two chaps from Dunfermline who opened the first golf course in the States, in Yonkers, New York. Oddly, it only had 3 holes, and still does, but this golf course was called St Andrews, just like our golfing capital here.
Well, this is Inchcolm Island on our left hand side, a little puffin flying past the front of the boat there, heading off towards the lighthouse. Inchcolm Island on the left, straight ahead, the North Sea, the oil tanker coming towards us, getting ever bigger as you can see. Over on the right hand side, Edinburgh skyline there. So just a quick heads up, Inchcombe Island, it's lovely for getting off and exploring, especially on a day like today. But if you do want to explore Inchcombe, make sure you've had a landing pass on the bar. But also just heads up, the island has toilets, gift shop, museum, the wartime remains up the top of the hill there, with a tunnel cut through the top of the hill. Soldiers in the First World War. The Abbey, obviously, lovely Abbey, but it's also got lots of seagulls. You can turn nest out, can be a little bit aggressive. So the secret is wave your hand above your head. You look a little bit stupid, but it might save you getting a peck on the head. Or you can pop into their shop and ask to borrow a stick instead of waving your hand all the time. Anyway, the other point about Inchcombe is if you want any hot drinks, alcoholic or otherwise, drinks and snacks, you have to get to the bar now, as there's nothing much on the island. There's a little gift shop and that's about it. So if you want any supplies to take off with you when you're going on the island, you've got 5-10 minutes to pop down to the bar. Organise that now. Keep watching for the seals. A couple on the rocks there, just over on the left hand side. And I'll spin the boat round so everybody gets a nice view of the Abbey.
It is a truly wonderful place to visit, or even just to look at as we cruise along. A remarkable place with a history going back in time as far as anybody can. Solitude and tranquility, a haven for wildlife. The main feature here, of course, must be the magnificent Augustinian Abbey, Scotland's most complete example of a monastic house. Amos of days, the ship may move up or down or sideways when you least expect it. Can you see the little red and white lighthouse, the Oxcar's Light, to keep the seaways safe? This one built in 1886 by the famous lighthouse family, the Stevensons. You may know this family better if I mention the famous grandson, author of Treasure Island, Robert Louis Stevenson. Today, with no contribution from the government, the General Lighthouse Fund raises around £80 million every year. They charge a levy of 39 pence for every ton for every ship entering UK waters. And now, a bit more sinister. At the base of the Oxcar Light is a hydrophone for underwater listening, but also vast loops of U-boat detector wire laying on the seabed. Going from Hot Craig anti-submarine establishment in Aberdare on the North mainland, past Inchcombe Island here, over to our right several kilometres to Seacliff on the south mainland, and the loops also include the Isle of May, way out on the horizon. Any alien ship, submarine or U-boat that crosses these cables will be detected with a magnetic charge seen on the galvanometers ashore. This would prompt an attack to be launched. Have you ever seen a steam train and carriages past the bows of a ship at sea? Well, you would have here. From Burnt Island, further out on the north shore, the floating railway carried trains full of coal and passengers over to Edinburgh. This was the late 1800s. But we will talk about Thomas Bodge, the infamous designer of this railway, a little later on.
Coming towards us. She's spraying water out over our anchors at the moment. Let's just get rid of some water ballast. When they're empty, the tankers are in great danger of falling over. Very unstable, so they carry water ballast. And as they approach the terminal, they just take the opportunity to get rid of the water ballast. Also stops any sparks from the anchor. Spaghetti pushed around the tugboats, if the anchors to bash off the hull, it would make a spark. And the spray there's to stop any sparks. Little puffin flapping his wings over by the red buoy, way over on the right hand side there.
Can you see the wartime railway lines up on the banking? These would have taken the wartime shells and munitions into their storage shelters. They would have arrived here, just like us, on a boat. The black steam-powered crane on the quay would have lifted the cargoes ashore. And this is where you will be leaving us today if you are going to explore the island. For all visitors to the island of Inchcolm, please wait on the rear deck until we are safely tied up. You must have your landing passes ready for inspection as you leave the ship, so that we can count you off, then back on again when you rejoin us as we come around again. The crew will tell you what time we expect to return.
It's called Inchcolm Island.
And for passengers staying with us, coming up next, the undersea world of Mortimer's Deep, the sea clowns from Morocco, and of course, the pinnipeds.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
On the island of Inchcolm, welcome back. We are now about to continue our circular voyage around the Firth of Forth. But just a reminder to everyone, the bell bar is now open. The bell bar is located below decks, downstairs, towards the rear of the ship. There is a selection of food and drinks available, and you will pass the toilets on your way to the bar. And so, coming up next, the undersea world of Mortimer's Deep, the sea clowns from Morocco, and of course, the pinnipeds.
Zou ik gerade sagen, die 6er Fracht und Landweg.
Blot on the landscape, but nevertheless another important export point over on the shoreline, Greyfoot Marine Terminal. This time not oil, but propane, ethylene, natural gas and butane, exporting to Norway, Sweden, in fact most of Europe and as far as the USA. And may be very picturesque, but it's also home every year to something else simply quite amazing. From the month of March, the clowns of the sea parrots, they arrive. We all know them better as puffins. These tiny birds live in the burrows, just like rabbits. The burrows you may see around the cliff tops. You may also be able to spot the purple flowered plants. Unfortunately, the purple flowered plants take over the cliff tops. It's called tree mallow. Tree mallow actually threatens the breeding of the puffins as it grows into and fills the burrows in wintertime. So every year, groups of people come here to remove the tree mallow before the puffins arrive. Curiously, tree mallow was introduced to the islands of the Forth by the original lighthouse keepers. Why? Well, the lighthouses burned whale oil. The occupational hazard of the keepers was burning hands and arms as they tried to light the oil. Tree mallow, when made into an ointment, helps to heal burned flesh very quickly. We are now setting our course due west to see if we can find any bulls or cows. But in the meantime, as we sail, keep a lookout for the tiny puffins flying across our bows. You have to be quick. They fly like rockets. They can achieve speeds up to 90 kilometers per hour, but they can also fly underwater too. The puffins come here to breed as it's cooler here in our summer than the Mediterranean areas that they live. Puffins return and magically locate the very same burrow that they occupied the year previously. And they also bring with them their mate, their partner for life. It takes 40 days to hatch their eggs. It takes 40 days for the chicks to learn to fly. And then, at the end of our summer, those chicks will leave us, heading for Morocco for the very first time. And then this amazing cycle of life will start all over again, here on the 4th next year.
Oh, a little puffin just popped up, left hand side, flying off, or bouncing on the water. He said, too many fish. Little puffin there, bouncing on the water on the left hand side. Just spin the boat round, hopefully it'll stay there. He is attempting to get bright enough to fly, so we'll see what happens. The boat now. What a big swim he had. Oh, down he goes again.
Mortimer's Deep is a natural haven for our seals who are free to enjoy the mysteries of the undersea world beneath us now. We humans are not. This is a protected and forbidden area for divers. This is a place holding many secrets. One of the biggest secrets has now been discovered, but lies beneath us, still a secret. The Blessing of Burnt Island was the ship belonging to King Charles I. Ever since the Great Storm of 1633, the Blessing lay here undiscovered, a wreck on the seabed. 20 crew died, but also all the silver and gold, all treasures from the Royal Stuart dynasty, it was all lost beneath the waves forever. Including silk and tapestries, there was also a 280-piece silver dinner service, commissioned by King Henry VIII. It's said that the value of this cargo may run into hundreds of millions of pounds. But its location is still classified secret. But it is under us now. As you can see on Google Earth, because they have a dark blob over the area, so nobody knows where it is.
That's a puffin on the left hand side again. Just over on the left there. Oh, flying off down the left hand side of the boat.
It's very true to say that seals are very dog-like. In some countries, they do call them the sea dogs. Seals, walruses and sea lions, you see, but also making them great swimmers. They are very clever as well. Their brain is split into two sections, and this helps them sleep. If they're on an island, both sides of the brain shut down into sleep mode. But if they're sleeping at sea, belly up, they keep half of the brain awake all the time, just in case of predators. If they dive, they can close their ears, they can deflate their lungs, and by slowing their heart rate, they can be underwater for up to 2 hours. They've always said that human beings derive from apes. Well, seals derive from bears. Scientists say that the closest living relatives to seals are otters, weasels, raccoons, and panda bears. The bulls are the daddy seals, the cows, they're the mummy seals, and the pups are the baby seals. Now usually the mums, they only give birth once a year to one pup, and normally it's a 300-day long pregnancy.
I'll just head on now to the big bridge, the flashing lights on the top, the new Queensferry crossing.
The most popular game on both sides of the Atlantic was devising a way to scupper the enemy submarines, the U-boats. Every newspaper, every magazine, every man in the street, they all had their favourite scheme or idea for defeating the U-boat campaign against us. Nearly 13,000 British lives were lost because of the U-boats, and 1 in 4 ships that left UK waters was never to return. The sinking of the liner Titanic was also still fresh in people's minds when Cunard's ocean liner, the Lusitania, was torpedoed by a U-boat. Something had to be done, and fast. Submarine hunting became of great wartime debate, and the War Office received over 14,000 letters with suggestions from the public. The great author of the time, H.G. Wells, was quite correct when he stated, "War is merely a struggle of invention." And that is what we are about to find out. Extracts from the International Journal of Naval History tell us the top 4 suggestions for capturing U-boats. In reverse order, of course. Number 4. Dispatch 2 divers in a patrol boat. If a periscope is sighted, get as close as possible. Throw a black bag over the periscope and smash the glass with a hammer. Number 3. Why not train seagulls to fly above submarines so that we can spot them? If we tow model subs behind the patrol boats, then throw fish, cat or some dog flesh, the hungry seagulls will become trained to flock over a submerged submarine, showing us clearly where it is. Number 2. Pour lots of green oil-based paint on the water so that the enemy periscopes are obscured. Then the U-boat commander will think he is deeper than he thought and surface. But the best way suggested by the great British public to scupper a U-boat. Number 1. If many barrels of Eno's health salts be placed around the seabed, when the presence of a U-boat is suspected, the barrels can be opened by remote control, i.e. ropes on the shore, and then the submarine will surface involuntarily on a mass of effervescent bubbles. That is a true account or illustration of how technically advanced we were not during the First World War.
I've not started turning the tanker yet, but we've got another tugboat coming out called Oxcars. I don't think she's going to be involved, but she's making big waves at the back, so I'll just pre-warn you. We're going to get the big waves off the tugboat coming out towards us, unless she slows down a lot. Let's be careful if you're moving around the boat. They normally turn the tankers, because once they're fully laden with oil, they're very much heavier, obviously, and much harder to manoeuvre. And she's filled up with oil that direction. I'll have to pull her off the terminal fully laden and swing her around, which is a much harder job. As the North Sea is obviously behind us. We're fortunate the Force got a deep water channel. Where you saw the seals, that was one of the marker buoys for the deep water. There's red ones on the other side, green and red, marking the deep channel. And that deep channel's over 20 metres deep, all the way out to the North Sea.
Meters of water above and around you. Experience the thrill of the undersea panoramas. Mysterious coral reefs, majestic sharks, the stingrays glide over and beside you. Look into their eyes. You are safe. You're in the longest clear tunnel in the whole of the UK. You could book a scuba dive with the sharks if you dare. Oh no! See the deadly piranhas, get close with the starfish, the lobsters and crabs, or perhaps visit the seals. There's golden arrow frog from the Amazon, the deadliest on the planet, blue-spotted humbugs, That fish from Krakatoa. Oh, and did I mention the sharks? A visit to Deep Sea World North Queensferry is simply amazing. Scotland's national aquarium for all the family. Deep Sea World North Queensferry. Easy to get to. Ask the crew or see tourist information for details.
No, we're just waiting here for the outbound boat, much bigger than us, to come through the rail bridge. It's a bit like traffic control for aeroplanes. So we're just waiting for him to clear, and then we'll head on up to the new Queensferry crossing. He'll come through the bridge and then he'll take a bit of a dive up towards us, or where we would have been. That's why we're safer here. That's the big oil tankers turning right in front of him, blocking the deep water channel to a certain extent. Anyway, nice pictures there of Hurst Point coming under the rail bridge. Big boat, so be careful for any waves that might be coming our way.
Quite down to sea because
The government invested £1.35 billion into this project, purely because the existing Forth Road Bridge is not coping too well these days, both in health and with modern day traffic volumes. Now that's an awful lot of money. However, the cost of the Red Rail Bridge in 1890 is the equivalent today of £1.3 billion. So actually, they are both very similar in cost. This new bridge is 2.7 kilometers long, just marginally longer than the old bridge. It's actually the longest three-tower cable-stayed bridge in the world, and also by far the largest to feature cables which cross mid-span. This innovative design provides extra strength and stiffness, allowing the towers and the deck to be more slender and elegant. And I'm sure you'll agree that the Queensferry crossing is a rather attractive bridge. However, within that design is 23,000 miles of cabling, and that's enough to wrap around the moon 3.5 times, and very nearly enough to span the circumference of the Earth. Just the steel used for the bridge deck weighs a total of 35,000 tons. That's the equivalent weight of 80 Boeing 747s. The new bridge is taller than the old road bridge at 683 feet above the high tide, and that's equivalent to 22 London buses stacked end to end. This bridge has wind shielding, so it shouldn't have to close at all due to weather. And even more important, this bridge features a dehumidification system to reduce moisture that causes corrosion. Now that's a valuable lesson learned from the failure of the cables on the old bridge.
Right guys, I'm off. Wow, that was good, man. That was very interesting. I really enjoyed it. Bit bumpy. That's expected though. You're on the 4th, and it is, as you did see, for the big tankers coming in and out. So, but it saw some seals, saw some puffins. It was good fun. I loved it. Definitely recommend it. I'll actually put a link in below of this tour. There's also other tours you can do as well. The bus has just left, so I'm going to chill out for a little bit and we'll see what goes on. But thank you, and thank you for the subscribers we've had recently. We've hit 309, so thanks again, much appreciated.